Greetings, travelers. This is Mid-Nite at the Drive-Thru, and welcome back to Satisfactory. Initializing unconventional screen resolution. Yes, that is unconventional. Anyhow, I mentioned last time that we would be doing a few things. One thing is that this whole process is going good. I added another container, so that's filling up. So I'm getting ready to shut this whole part down. I did go ahead and add a container here and routed it next to the awesome sink that I put in over there. So now if I have some debris that I want to dispose of, I can simply toss it in here while I'm over by the research center, and it will destroy it for me. At some point I will integrate it as overflow. One of the things that I can build that I unlocked, well, I told you last time that I had found a Caterium source. I did go ahead and put a mine over there and routed it over here, so we've got plenty of it coming along. So I was able to unlock a few things, including the Smart Splitter, which allows you to set a splitter to use it has one input, 3 outputs, and you can decide what goes to each output. You can either name a particular item or you can say overflow. And so it's a great way if you've got a system that's producing lots of material and you don't really want that to sit there idle when it goes, you can route that to the sink. So I'll be doing that at some point. I also got my blueprint. As I said, I was going to finish that milestone in the hub terminal. Said I was going to complete both of these, and I did. So we have hypertubes, which I haven't done anything with yet, and we have the fix-it blueprints. So now I'm able to build things that are a little larger. So for example, if I wanted to come over here, I've set a toolbar to be able to do some of these things. So if I wanted to lay out a large foundation, it's so large they don't play well with others. But you can see I can lay out a maximum 4x4 base and roughly the same height. Blueprint Designer's a cube, which I can show you. But as a result, I have made a few other changes. The whole area around the iron mines near the base here, the base is not moved, but this is the smelting array. Taking all of the output from the first 2 mines and running them together. So this is constantly getting filled up. And then of course we split that off, and on this side we have the iron rods being generated all the way down, and on this side we have the iron plates being generated all the way down. So that's quite a bit of production. I did move the copper stuff up onto the pad and just kind of left this channel open so that I'd be able to get to and from the hub without too much trouble. Not much change over here, really. I did put things in sideways, and I got 3 cable constructors rather than just one. And those all feed into the wall here. So we've got the iron plates going up when it fills the first one. Go up, well actually it goes up constantly, and when they back up and the top one fills, it backfills into the lower one. Over here, we have nothing in the bottom one, but the top is full of wire. Partially because we've got, of course you can't see anything in that right now. Get a little closer. Yeah, so the top is full of cable that is currently being used, so it might be getting depleted. And the copper sheets. Here's the iron rods. That's filled up just fine. So most of the stuff down here on the first floor is all the iron basics. I did redo the whole organics into fuel, biomass, solid biomass fuel, but honestly, I did grow everything else pretty big. At present, that's everything back here. Did upgrade this limestone, and you can see I do have a second floor here, so let's go ahead and head on up to the second floor. I tried to leave a couple gaps here and there to walk through the lines, just because I got tired of smacking my face and stuff. This is where I'm keeping the biomass fuel. So up here on the second floor, we've got and the first thing you'll notice, looking off to the west, is I have double the number of power generators now for coal, and added some more water extractors. I found a second source of coal down here. So this is where the first one is, on the other side of the Impossible Gulf. This one's on the mainland, but it's up on a pedestal. So I brought power down there. The Caterium Irie is now bringing its stuff over. And so the other coal is pure. So I brought all of that over here for joining with iron on that third mine for steel production, and thus the rest of the first coal vein was able to be utilized directly for power. So we've got, I made an error last time. I was looking at somewhere in the middle, and the changes had just applied. So you actually, if you just made a change, you want to make sure that your arrow is all the way to the right of that change, so you'll see it reflected. As we move across, the orange value is changing, but at present my capacity is 1240 megawatts, 1.2 gigawatts. Not 1.21, 1.24 gigawatts. There's no such thing as a gigawatt. But that gives us plenty of room, so I was able to do a lot of other stuff. So we've got a nice little array of foundries producing steel ingots. Not as many as I'd like. I'm mostly limited still by the Mark II conveyors. They can only do 270 pieces per minute, and if I was to overclock these pure mines, I could get a lot more. Same thing with some of the things that get produced. Quick wire, which is the primary output from Caterium ingots. 12 ingots makes, what is it, 50 or 60, I forget. But it makes a lot of wire. And so there's a lot more being made over there. And there's just no way to get it here fast enough. So, I mean, this is filled up. There's several of them back. You can kind of see I cleared out this whole field here. but there's a lot of storage containers over by the actual mine, and they're filled up too. It's just I can't get it out of there fast enough. Okay, so other things down on the second floor. I still have yet to make the niceties of going up and down and whatnot. It's still a work in progress. So, first floor down there with the hub. Second floor, we've got a lot of unused space. I might end up putting an array of batteries for the electrical system and or the biomass burners over here, just because the smoke from the smelters downstairs. This area is primarily constructors for secondary products. So this line is screws. This whole line is generating screws. Beyond that, we have a few secondary products that come from things pulled off the wall. And I went into the Fix-It Awesome shop and got the ceiling conveyor hangers. So it gives me a way of getting up out of the way so I can still walk around on the factory floor. And you can just put a splitter on that and pick stuff off. So here I'm building reinforced iron plates. Got a couple of those running, and those are filling up here. Then the output for that, well, first say this, I've also got modular frames being constructed here. Over here we're doing rotors, which are coming to the back. The rotors are collecting here, being combined with the reinforced iron frames to a set of assemblers back here to build, smart plating, which you can see from the upper right is one of our phase 2 objectives. So we need 500 of those. How's that going? Going pretty good. That's almost ready to go. The rest of the phase 2 components are being built upstairs, so we'll head back up there. The rooftop or third floor. So we have foundries. Next to the foundries, we have an array of steel beam constructors, which are filling that tower. And we're pulling off of that tower beams that are being used for merging with modular plates, modular frames to make versatile frameworks. Collecting here, we need 500 of those, and ooh my, we're all set for that. The other piece of the steel beams is coming off, go into this setup. I just have a few in there now, but it's more than enough. It has developed all these encased steel beams because I happen to know that those will be useful after we finish phase 2. In addition, we have cables coming from downstairs being brought up to join with the output in this tower of steel pipes. Steel pipes and cables. Actually, the steel pipes are being combined with quick wire in one of the alternate recipes that I got from a hard drive to make stators. Stators then combined with the cables are making the automated wiring. And it seems like we need 100 of those. How's that process going? Oh yes, we have more than enough of that. So we're ready at this point, almost on the smart plating. Everything else is good. We can take this and we can fill that up. Get phase 2 underway, which is nice. So yeah, 1, 2, 6, 8, 10. So that takes care of 2 of the phase 2 components. We'll just hop down precipitously here. Jaunt on over to the space elevator. And put those components in. So now we just need the smart plating, and we're pretty close to being ready with that. Yeah, this kind of massive scale is really only feasible once you have the blueprint maker. Oh, I didn't even mention that. Okay, so we've got 414. This was the last one I assembled, so we're getting there. But yeah, the rock outcrops that were here, I just kind of covered up because they irritate me. Still haven't figured out what I'm going to do over here with this one. But that one down there, I built the ramps over that to get up to the second floor. And this is the blueprint designer. So anything you lay out here, you can come in, save it as a blueprint, and then when you go to build, it shows up under the blueprints tab. So I've got an array for building iron plate constructors, iron rod constructors, smelters, screws, steel beams, and founders. I just took the steel beam one because I was up there on the third floor and didn't feel like coming back down, so I just placed the steel beam down and changed them to steel pipes. Everything else was the same. And that's how that works. So it makes it, especially for laying out large sections of foundation to build expansive factory floor, the blueprint is really essential. So yeah, let's hop over here and feed in what we've got. Smart plating. So just need 84 more. So while that's going on, I suppose you can see I left the coal, the split half of the original coal vein here. Just disconnected it. The new connection for coal is coming from the other source and just enters here and comes up onto a hanger. I might move that again just so that it goes to the edge of the building. If I ever decide to put an exterior on this, maybe I can have it pass through one of the conveyor windows, which is also a special item in the Fix-It shop. The only problem, of course, over here is that piece of uranium down there. I did want to build to the wall so that, because I don't have a lot of supports, but I do have it anchored into the rock on this side, and I've got kind of elevators here with the ramps to build the structure, and on this side, of course, it's built into the rock. So that's my logic, is that they are rigid, and I'm filling the space between floors so that we imagine that they are secured that way. So all of these smelters are acting in part as struts. I also have the circular parts, which I might end up doing something with that. I did it for the mine here just to try it out, and I kind of like the way it looks. But it's not great for running around, especially while you're still constructing, because it's just too many holes to fall through. I left this one piece of rock out here. I don't know why. I just did. So, anywho, just head back upstairs for a moment. Get an idea of how far we are from this. Need another 52. We'll go for a little walk. So yeah, with the additional power, I realize that I need to pick these up more regularly since I do actually have recipes for making the inhalers, which are useful, but you need the food items components. So, that's a thing. I knew there was one over here. Oh, there's another one. If I go too far, I will venture too close to living things over here, which I may not have dealt with yet. There's one right there. Generally speaking, the bases where those animals hang out is to protect something. There's usually a resource or a power slug or something like that. I don't know. I haven't really spent a lot of time sitting in one place. I never seem to see the warthogs respawn where I've put mines down, where I've taken the resources. I think if you utilize the resource that was being protected, then they don't respawn there. But if you just come by, kill a warthog, and then do nothing else with the resource that's there, I think they do respawn. That's my theory. Anyways. So I did run power down here so that I could have the mine. Oh, it's you. Dino and his friends. What we got? Don't really need Caterium ore at this point, as you'll see in a moment. Because I've got this lovely array of smelters over on the right, and then 2 banks of constructors converting ingots into quick wire. And I have containers placed all along the lines because with only 4.5, and these aren't overclocked or anything, just 4.5, it's 60 per minute. Takes in 12 ingots, puts out 5 times that in piece count, but piece count is what matters on the conveyors, so they're all jammed up. And every single one of these is chock full. So I'm waiting for faster conveyors, or, you know, I might just... I could put an awesome sink over here. Something to think about. If I do that, it will produce a lot of tickets. In coming out here, I found a bunch more animals that I had to subdue, which meant a lot more DNA from animals, which is a separate resource type you can put into the sink. And so I got quite a handful of tickets from that. But we've laid all this out nicely. I'm more happy with the way these constructions are going now. That first layout at the base was just too much of a mess. It's still a little cramped, but I'm getting better. I'm experimenting with the new... I like the new conveyor hangers that I can put on the ceiling. I've got wall ones too, but if you're using a multi-floor layout, like I could run stuff down the side using these conveyor wall mounts, and so you'd get it off the floor. Yeah, looks like there's another drop pod over there, but I've got to build bridges to get out to it, and I just haven't had the time. But yeah, that's how things are going down here. It could take you to see the uranium. Could take you to see the second coal deposit. Not much to see really, and it's not that far away. But I did a pretty good job of clearing all this out. Because if anything does respawn, I don't want to be walking through here following the path of my... Okay, well that answers the question. I wondered if, because it was past January 15th, that this nonsense of the dropping packages was going to stop. I hadn't seen any for a while. I thought, well, maybe they're just still on the ground in a few places, and once you clear them up, they'll stop dropping. I know someone did say in the options that it was possible to simply go in and turn them off, and I might do that, because it's silly. Now see here, I have not done anything with these iron bits. Uh-oh. Hi. Well, you're not going to like this, buddy, because I have a few more options now. Rebar gun. Does have to reload after each shot. Getting a... Well, that's your ball game there, son. So that's one thing that I've got now that I didn't have before. Uh-oh. Did you have a friend? Ah, is it this guy? Must be. Okay, well. So that's a lot better at dealing with things. But just because I am unskilled... Oh, there's a slug tucked in there. I still use the cheat of standing up where they can't get me. It doesn't really help with plasma spitters. Then I have to wade in aggressively before they get their shot off. But I have a feeling that since I'm not using these, they will respawn. But you know, since I'm in the area, I have something else I'd like to check on. Let's see now. Ah, yes. This. Now, there was a warthog here protecting the slug in that tree. Haven't seen him come back. And there was, of course, the plasma spitter that was in his jail here. He he is not there. He's out. Which confirms another thing that I thought about. Which is, if you leave the area, I think they despawn and they respawn when you re-enter the area. So unless you build your cage around their spawn point, they will get out. Unfortunately. Now, none of that. That's got him. And this ammo is cheap, an iron rod each. But I have something else, which can be used for dealing with animals, but is also good for things like this. Fire in the hole. It's too late. Now, as the pieces shrink away, which they do in a kind of weird fashion, we can see the deposit that was here, which is another pure Caterium ore deposit. Now, the one I capitalized on is also pure, so there's no reason at this point. I can mine the stuff faster than I can use it, so there's really no point, unless I was just going to put an array down here and feed everything directly into a sink and make it a ticket farm. There's really not much value to that. But it's good to be mindful of your options. Whee! So, yeah. Explored a lot of this area pretty well. Yeah, now see, I'm pretty sure I killed that guy before, but I made no use of the copper, and they seem to be back. So, I don't know for certain. That's my theory, is that they do respawn if the associated objects nothing's done with it. So the splitter's still here, but it's not connected on this end. And the other splitter that brings it directly over to the base is just inactive, so it's just backed up along that leg. Picked up a fair collection of power slugs as I was wandering through this area, cutting down trees, planting my power towers, such. Nice to see you there, Arthur. Another limestone. There's a couple iron over here. There's a warthog. I was hoping he wasn't going to see me, but he did. Somebody did. With the Blade Runners on, I think I can outrun them. As long as they're not already aggressive. But there's the other hole. And it's just easier. I think there's... Yep. Yeah, I thought there were a couple of warthogs. Oh, look at you trying to get me. You puke. Persistent little cuss, ain't you? Okay, so you got a couple hits in. Good for you. I figure I might as well pick up these food items because they are useful. I do like having those medical inhalers. Yeah, I just build a tower and that gets me most of the way up to the top of a pedestal like this one. Now I used this resource, which is another coal pure. Got that set up. Sorry for the loudness. And it just runs straight down with an elevator and heads almost straight off to base. I do kind of hook around that landmass. And there's a power slug up there. Two. There's a yellow one up there. So I will have to be making my way up onto that piece of land at some point. But it's got those wasp nest looking deposits that produce the toxic gas, which I can now deal with the explosives, I think. But yeah, that's how that's all working. So looks pretty good shape there, I think. Getting that to work correctly when you back off the tower is not easy. But now, I think for the most part, I can just ride yonder conveyor back home. Well, except for the part that goes through the toxic... And there's a yellow slug on top of that, too. Let's test this theory. About there. That should put it somewhere on the object. Now you're talking. Once that explodes, it clears it up and stops generating poison. The trick, of course, is going to be to get all of them. Some of them are in awkward positions. There's kind of like an artifact left in the air, but I'm not being poisoned, so I'm going to call that a win. Be careful, because somewhere around here there's a drop off into the endless void, I think. And I don't want to find it by accident. Let's see. Takes a little getting used to the throwing arc there. Yeah. That's probably something I should do. Put together a blueprint for ramps. Problem is, the way you saw, the large blueprints kind of don't work normal. In that they need something visible to latch onto. Okay, got a little too close to one of the remaining ones there. No problem. Really? You had to miss that, huh? So now I can walk over here and there is no damage. So now I can simply pick up this yellow slug. Okay, there's something. Little one down on the side of the cliff, I think. Yeah, I'm still seeing gas coming up there, so that must be what that is. But still, that was good. There's still one up there. But, well, I'll wait until I get my jetpack back before undertaking too much more of this adventuring. It's just tedious. Mess around with all these foundations. We don't want to turn this into tedium. Relaxing is one thing, tedious is another. And it took me all this time to figure out that I could press H to holster whatever tool I currently have, so I don't have to always walk around with the Xeno Basher out or something. And yet, this will really be the key, because I definitely have not used these iron deposits, and yet this guy was one of the first warthogs I cleared, so if they do come back, I should see him here. Anyway, let's not graceful. Let's run up and pick up our smart plates, which should be done by now. luck. Oh yeah, more than done. Head back out to the space elevator and complete phase 2. Seal them in. And ship them off. No voice from Ada, huh? I guess she only talks when the hub has something to say. And of course, it's already got phase 3. You can see we need 2,500 of the versatile whatever it is there framework. So we've already got that in place. We just let that run and siphon the pits off from time to time. And the other parts are new. So let's go ahead and see what awaits us in the future. Tier 5, we've got oil processing becomes available. So oil extractors, refineries, valves for pipes, plastic and rubber, which are byproducts, can be produced by the crude oil refining process. Fuel, petroleum coke, which honestly I haven't used. Circuit boards, which are big, the ability to scan for crude oil, and new shop products, which are probably plastic and rubber. That's not too bad. We've already got the encased concrete, encased steel beams, concrete encased steel beams. We've got plenty of pipes, we've got plenty of copper sheets. We just have to put together some motors. Now, I actually think I have 40 of those in a storage box somewhere because I picked them up from drop pod sites. Let's see. Once we have that, then we have the option to refine these. We can get fabric from mycelium easily. We've already done that, and that gives us the gas mask, filter, and 3 more inventory slots, which are always good. But that having that gas filter, which means if I get too close to those toxic clouds, it just starts eating the disposable filters and not my health bar. Alternative fluid transport, that's packaging. You can take any liquid, put it into a canister, and then travel it by conveyor, which is useful if you've got a liquid that you want to travel over a large distance and you've already got conveyors set up and you don't want to run pipeline. Package it up on one end and unpackage it on the other end and return it to fuel. Also, it gives us the ability to create liquid biofuel, which is useful for other things. Industrial manufacturing gives us the manufacturer, so finally you can combine up to 4 parts into a part. We got the truck, which is awesome. The original vehicle, I don't even remember, vehicular transport. This tractor is trash. The truck is good. Computers, modular engines, and adaptive control units. Both of those obviously are our phase 3 components, so those will be a thing. And then jumping ahead, look, there's our Mark IV logistics. We have a little bit of work to do before we can unlock the Mark IV conveyor belts and lifts. Honestly, this scan for Caterium ore, that's the fuel generator that runs off of the fuel that's refined. So You have to unlock both of these in order to actually start using the fuel as a power source. But those are pretty good. After you get an array of these online, you can kind of not even bother with the coal generated. And the jetpack. 3 inventory slots. This is huge. It changes the way that you travel on everything. Train technology. That'll be fun. As I said when I first started this game reminded me of model trains. And so that'll be fun to set up and make it pretty. And then, of course, upgrades for the pipeline tech. All great stuff. But I think where we want to start is just the basics. So yeah, we'll be starting by getting some motors together. And let's put that down. I can run upstairs and get some pipes. I've got the case beams there. Copper sheets there. And then let's see. 30. Okay, I had 40 of these circuit boards. So I still need 20 motors. And for motors, since I can build them, I need motors and stators. Well, as it happens, I have stuff for that. So I just need 40 more motors. Excuse me, 20 more motors, so 40 more each of rotors and stators. Well, I need... Let's see. Head up top side to get the steel pipes, which are in the second tower here. And we certainly have plenty of those. And then I really don't need a lot. I only need like 40 pieces. Stators, so one stack will do me fine there. And then rotors are downstairs. Rotors. No, that's modular frames. Rotors. One of these. There they are. So a stack of those. So that should be all I need there. So take the shortcut through the wall angle here back to the base. We can throw those pipes in and then just bang out a couple motors real quick. Okay, well, not as quick as I'd hoped. But obviously I've already got the infrastructure in place. I can just combine outputs from the rotor and stator pack and start mass producing motors easily enough. It's actually a use for the quick wire. You use that alternative recipe, because a lot of my copper is going into the cables. Might reduce the number of active constructors or just underclock them. So if you want to run the equivalent of 2, you just run all 3 at 2/3 capacity, and they are more efficient. That's better than just deconstructing one. You use a lot less when you do it that way. And that's the motors done. She's ready, Captain. Shaboom!
Milestone reached. Oil acquisition and refining unlocked. Oil-based products can now be made. The byproducts of oil refinement can be used after further processing, as seen in the refinery. Caution. This is a reminder to minimize the chance of expiration during out-of-base activities.
Yeah, because there are two places that I know of for a fact that I can go for oil. One is slightly north of Arcturium, kind of along here. I know there's another Caterium deposit somewhere along the shoreline, and out from that there's an island. There is a pure crude oil deposit on that island. There's two, actually, one on a neighboring island. The other, and that's got a few hostile animals here and there. The alternative is to head out this direction, down into the mycelium biome, and that is just loaded with the swarming things. I forget what they're called, but they're these little pods that open up and send stuff at you, and they hit incredibly hard. All the things that I've been, like all the warthogs that I've been killing here, have all been one protein per animal. When you start getting into more advanced animals, the higher level warthogs can throw rocks, so just standing on a foundation base isn't going to cut it. And also, they hit harder. So I got 2 hits from that warthog a little while ago, and he took away 2 blocks of health. You start getting hit by the big ones, you might die in 2 hits. So do be careful. So I will probably be going to that location up the north. So I think that's where we're going to leave it for now. Covered a lot of the changes that I made, and we unlocked an entire phase and our first milestone tier in tier 5. So until next time, this has been Mid-Nite at the Drive-Thru, saying thank you for stopping by. Hope you had a little fun. And until next time, thank you and drive through. Bye-bye.